What is up, guys? Hey, Jerry Green here, and thank you for attending today's episode. So on today's episode, what I want to talk about is the verbiage you use when you're speaking to a seller, a buyer, okay, anybody in your REI business that you're going to work with on some type of sales related area. So, like I say, this could be a buyer or a seller, but let's just take an example of a seller that you're working with. Let's say you're speaking to a seller, and you're speaking to the seller, and you're like, hey, you know what, great, I'd love to work with you on this property. Let's say that you're getting down to the details of things, and then you start talking about, well, here's what I need you to do, Mr. Seller. I'm going to send over to you the contract, and if you would take a look at this contract and make sure everything's okay with you, then if you can sign it, then we can go ahead and get everything started on things. Okay, now think about that as a seller. Okay, you're talking to them, contract. You know, a lot of people are kind of freakish a little bit about when it comes to contract. And then we talk about signing the contract. Another thing too is sending the contract over. What that's doing is that's letting them off the hook, okay? Because now you're going to send it over. They got plenty of time to review it, do whatever they want with it. Guys, you don't realize this, but your verbiage has a lot of power when you're working with people. So when I'm working with a client like this, a seller, I don't use the word like contract. I don't use the words like sign. I don't use the words where I'm going to send the contract over and things like that for your review or anything. Guys, that's just setting yourself up for really roadblocks and for giving somebody a reason to just say no. I mean, if you look at that, you're just setting it up to work against you instead of working for you on things. So what I want you to think about is when you're communicating with someone, just try changing things up a little bit, okay? So one of the things that we do is I really encourage not only my own team, but also students that I work with, is to talk about things in a way where it's more relaxed. I might say, Mr. and Mrs. Seller, let's say I'm talking to, let's just say Sally the seller. So Sally, I'll tell you what, it looks like we can work things out here. What I'd love to do is go ahead and get the process started with you. Okay, so I didn't say send the contract or anything else. Let's go ahead and get the process started. So what I would like to do is share with you, Sally, the paperwork. So notice I'm saying paperwork instead of contract. And then Sally, what we'll do is we'll walk through the paperwork together to make sure if you have any questions. And then when you walk through together with them, it just comes down to, all right, Sally, great. Well, what I need to do next? Well, Sally, I just need your okay at the bottom or your approval. See how much better that sounds instead of saying sign the contract, even using the verbiage contract. Getting the process started instead of saying, hey, I'm going to send this contract to you for your review. See, it's totally changing that. So by doing that, guys, you're going to find out that it's going to be easier for you to convert more deals. Because then what happens is, guys, people feel more comfortable and you're presenting them the same thing, but it's just changing the verbiage of how you're presenting that to them. And it comes down to, these are just key factors on this. And we talk about this too, instead of saying, I'm going to make you an offer, we'll let them know what your property qualifies for. That way I don't even use the word offer. It's funny by doing these things, what an effect it can have on people. When I first started trying this years ago, I was amazed at the effects that it had. When I started calling things paperwork, not having them signed, just need your okay right here. I started doing things in regards to not saying here's your offer. I started saying, hey, guess what, Mr. and Mrs. Seller, I'm so excited, but to tell you that this is what we were able to get your property qualified for. It's a whole different approach. And what happens, guys, is when you start doing this, it really, thinking about it, interrupts the seller's patterns, the patterns of thinking. And when they're thinking one way, and they're thinking, salesperson's going to take advantage of me or something like that, because that's typically what they do. If you think about it, most of them are thinking, unfortunately, they think of a lot of bad real estate agents, and they think a lot of car salespeople and stuff that just have really bugged the crap out of them. Now we're looking in a way where you're approaching it completely different, where you're helping them out. You're talking about your process on things. You're talking about, you know, how you can get their property qualified. You're talking about programs instead of multiple different offers. It just changes everything. And when you change that terminology, you'll find people are more open to working with you, more open to listening. And the biggest thing is they help bring their walls of resistance down. When they bring those walls of resistance down, you connect deeper and you will convert more deals. Hope you love this tip here, guys. I know it's something that's been big for me and a lot of my team members and my students. So if you wouldn't mind there, just give me a like below and also subscribe to my channel. And we'll talk to you soon.